Greetings and salutations. Once again, we're headed back into the Woodless run. This is episode 14. I know this because I was looking through my videos and I noticed I was up to 13. Um, I was well over a week ago. I thought, I'll just do, episode 14. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get to the nether and maybe it'll be this episode. Maybe it'll be next episode. I don't know. I'm hoping it's soon. Not because I tire of this, but because I want to move on to like bigger and better things, if that makes sense. Maybe not bigger things or better things, but I want to move on to having something else, cycle into the channel. And I'm hoping rotation comes soon. Now, the reason I say I'm hoping rotation comes soon, there was the Lunar New Year's coming up. And Hearthstone kind of goes with the Lunar New Year. They always have, right? Kind of like the Year of the Scarab, Year of the Horse, Year of the Raptor, that kind of thing. Except they didn't do Year of the Horse, they did Year of the Pegasus. Nevertheless, they kind of go along the same route as the Lunar New Year, right? They have year cycles, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that idea. And I've modified my decks to, obviously, to be ready for post rotation, because I hate having pre-rotational cards and pre-rotational stuff in these decks. I pride myself on being solo post-rotational, and I'm gonna fill... Do I have my buckets on me? Probably not. I do indeed. We are going to fix this down here. It's gonna be the perfect setup. No worries, you watch. Ow. But anyway, I pride myself on trying to not be this, like with everybody else, you know what I mean? Like doing the same exact thing. I try to get out ahead of the game, so to speak, by effectively trying to not play the same, like pre-rotational decks. I try to play post-rotational stuff early. That way, I don't have to worry about, figuring out how to best adjust the decks afterward. There we go. Perfect. Now I can just drop down from above, and I don't have to worry about fall damage. But no, I try to make it so that my decks are set up in such a way... Oh wait, that's right, I gotta go get some water. Nope. Just in case I run into lava. I try to get it so that my decks are set up and basically future-proofing. As much as I hate that term, I try to future-proof them so that they don't have to worry about it. Right? So you don't have to... I don't have to sit there and muck about changing it and thinking, well, what am I going to replace it with? Like, for example, Brawl, right? Brawl is cycling out, and it's a prime example of, where people are going... You're going to have a lot of players that are going to panic on what they should do when Brawl rotates, right? Like, what's our 5-mana option for Warrior now that Brawl rotates? Well, you've got Shelnado. Is it the best option? No. But you've got it as an option. Shelnado is a solid replacement. Anything with 5 toughness or less just gets destroyed. But it also means that the board's going to be more impactful moving forward. Which I guess, unless they sneak Bob out of the game, I think that's why they left Bob in the game. By basically saying, hey, we got Bob, And with Bob, you know, we're just going to leave him in there so we can freeze the board and figure out how to deal with it. Now, I'm going to say right now, I have a Rafam deck. And a lot of people like to think Rafam is this gimmick deck. It's not. Rafam is quite literally just control Warlock. Now, I have not gone through and taken a look at what they're removing for Warlocks, because I don't know. I don't know if one of the things they're removing for Warlocks is the Voidwalker one, where you do 3 damage to an enemy or 3 damage to a target, and you get 2 1/3s with taunt. Because if they did that, and they made it so that that's gone, I'll have to find a way to work around it. But it's a solid card. But it's basically control lock, you know, with Siphon Soul, with Drain Life, with... I'll have to play the... You know what? My next video is going to be my Rafam deck. It's kind of a homemade Rafam deck. It's got a secondary win condition in it, other than Rafam. And it doesn't lean heavy into that secondary win condition, but if you can pull it off, you're pretty much very far ahead by turn 5. Turn 5, turn 6, depending on if you have the coin. It's completely dependent on... I guess... Well, yeah, I guess it would be based on the coin, per se. You'll have to see it. I'll have to take a look at the Year of the Scarab before I do the video. Because I do want to showcase the old... what's the word I'm looking for here? Deck building chops. A lot of people just, you know, they saw Rafam and they're like, okay, haha, it's a gimmick. Well, maybe so in, like, Legend, but when you get up into Legend, you're dealing with cards, you know, you're dealing with the older decks. And these older decks have a lot of OTK mechanics, like the whole Alonius, copying minions, doubling up. You're playing, like, Ajari, the Zinajari, what is it? Not Well of Eternity, I think it is. Well of Eternity, Druid. Where you play, like, Briarthorn Drake, and then the Briarthorn just becomes a 24-17 or whatever, and just absolutely dominates everybody. There's ways to do it. Like, and then you just double it up, so on and so forth. But I think you're going to see a lot of control decks come out of this. One of the cards that I noticed something, and I don't think anybody's realized it. Nature Shaman is going to be a complete and utter fiend. Now, what do I mean by a fiend? Well, Stormrook. Okay? The Stormrook is a 5-mana 5/5 that says when it's struck with a lightning spell, summon a random 5-cost minion. Which, okay, you get value. There's a lot of 0-cost mana spells that a shaman has access to. There's like 3 or 4. You have the 2 that are the 0-cost, and then you have the 2 1-costs that generate a 0-cost mana spell. A 0-cost nature spell, I should say. And when they generate that 0-cost nature spell, it's interesting. Is he through the wall here? Or here? Heard one of them walking around. Anyway, the 0-cost nature spells do 1 damage to a minion, give your shaman +1 attack. Whoop-de-doo. But if you put that on a Stormrook, it's not only it does 0 damage to the Stormrook, generates 1 attack for your Shaman, generates a 5-cost minion on the board. Which seems fine, right? There's quite a few 5-cost minions, and you could potentially high roll and get a good one. You could potentially low roll and, well, you still get a good one. I don't know of any really bad 5-cost minions except maybe Possessed Animancer. And that's not even a bad one, considering Stormrook is a beast, so if your other Stormrook is in your deck, Possessed Animancer will fetch it upon its death rattle, so it's not technically a bad 5-drop. It's a 2/2, but it's got a death rattle that's going to fetch you a beast and give it lifesteal. So it'll be a 5/5 Stormrook with lifesteal. Nevertheless, it raises the question, you know, why do I say that Nature Shaman's going to go crazy? Well, if you look in the Year of the Scarab video, you're going to see Rhaegar Earth Fury. Rhaegar Earth Fury is a 5-mana Shaman minion that says whenever a minion adjacent to this attacks, get a lightning bolt. Now, if you are picking up what I'm putting down here, play Stormrook on 5, or have taunt minions out there so the Stormrook doesn't die, but you could play Stormrook on 5 and then basically generate a whole bunch of creatures off of Stormrook. And when you generate the creatures off of Stormrook, you should be perfectly fine, right? Now, they might kill Stormrook, but you also have to think, what if it generates a Rhaegar? That's the part that people aren't thinking about. Now, there's also the fact that you can play a late-game iteration where you can play... There's a Shaman card that came out in the mini set for Across the Timeways. And that Shaman card says something along the lines of it's a 4-mana... It's a dual class card. It's 4-mana 4/4. And it's a rogue Shaman. It's got Outcast and... Or not Outcast. It's got Combo and Overload. So it gives it Rush, Wind Fury, and Immune this turn if you combo and Overload. So if you think about it, right? You wait till turn 9, you're playing a long Shaman game. You get kind of... You could almost kind of go like Control Shaman if you have like Typhoon on 10. You can almost do like a Control Shaman. Not that I would recommend a Control Shaman. It's been a month of Sundays before Control Shaman was a good thing. Back in... What was it? Showdown in the Badlands was the final... That was the final expansion. I made a Control Shaman, a Reno Control Shaman. Yeah. It was good. It was a good deck. It had like an 80% win rate in gold, rare on gold diamond. I think that was the one that made Diamond 5. I was absolutely just dunking on people with that. I also had a no minion Reno mage. It was crazy. Because there was the cards from like Festival of Legends and other things like that that were allowing you to just generate minions. They were allowing you to... It's like my no minion Demon Hunter can generate a board full of minions. So... randomly, but it can do it. Nevertheless, the idea of Nature Shaman, you could play that... You could play Rhaegar into that 4-mana Wind Fury, Immune, Rush minion, and then just absolutely dominate your player, the opponent, by playing it adjacent to Rhaegar. So now you attack twice and you're getting 2 lightning bolts. Because you have Wind Fury, you're getting the lightning bolt for each time the minion attacks. With those 2 lightning bolts, that's 6 damage to face, or 6 damage potentially to other minions for 1. That's 3 times 2. So for 2 mana, you're getting potentially 6 damage for nothing. which means they now have to answer the threat on board of the Wind Fury minion because they can't leave that up, or they have to answer the threat on board for Rhaegar because they can't leave that up. Because if they leave either of them up, they know they're doomed. Because you could just play another rush minion right after that and attack with a minion adjacent to Rhaegar, etc. So it's going to cause problems. I think Rhaegar Earth Fury is going to be a really good card. But I think people are going to have to really tinker with it and slot it into certain places. It's kind of like Farseer Woe. If I keep tunneling this way, I will run into the I was gonna say demons, but zombies, which is a good thing. Because that means there's a chasm. Where there's chasm, there's lava. Where there's lava, I can make obsidian. Where I can make obsidian, I can make a portal. I can hear it. I'm getting real close. I remember back in the day when playing this game that the worst thing you could run into underground was water. Because water didn't function like it does now. If you sprung a leak of water, it filled the entire cave system and you would just drown before you got out. Water was the deadliest thing you could run into. Nobody feared the lava because the lava moves so slow. And they were like, "Oh yeah, well, whatever." But the moment you hit water, flooded your entire cave system, floor to ceiling. It didn't have a maximum number of unit limit. It would just flood in and it'd be like Terraria water. It fills every crevice. Okay, now I hear it off to my right. Like right in there. So I might dig off to my right here in a second. At any rate, I think Rhaegar Earthfury is going to be a good card. I think that a lot of these cards are going to lose their... They're going to lose a lot of their power. But I'm looking forward to the rotation. I'm going to have to check the Year of the Scarab before I show my Rafaam deck. But my Rafaam deck is a bit of a homebrew. And I like it. I know. They're like, oh wait, guy likes his own Rafaam deck? Strange, right? Nah. Most people think Rafaam's a gimmick, and let me tell you, it does come across as gimmicky. But everybody's gonna hope and pray that Rafaam is not. Everybody's gonna hope and pray that Rafaam's not good in the next season. Because if Rafaam's good in the next season, everybody and their grandma is gonna play Rafaam. Because it's just get to the win con, destroy the enemy hero. Which means every deck's gonna run Dirty Rat. Every single one. And normally I don't like Dirty Red as a card. I really don't. It's like a 2-mana 2/6 that just ruins your day. And if you've ever been dirty ratted and it pulls a combo piece out or it pulls out a win con, you're just incredibly sad about it. Believe me, I've had those days. Where I'm like, man, you'll be sitting there, like, matter of fact, I had one earlier today that just, it irritated me ever so slightly. And it was part of the quest I was doing, which was, for the Lunar New Year thing. And that thing for the quest I was doing for the Lunar New Year, which got me, Lunara. I was in there the whole night. Wow. It got me Lunara, the Lunara pattern, or not pattern, listen to me. Lunara hero portrait. And that's what makes me think that they're going to do it for the Lunar New Year. Lunara, druids, they generally have moon, and they're generally kind of hippie-ish in that way, which is what makes me think we're coming up to the rotation. Then, of course, there's a small part of me that's like, oh, please let it be rotation. Please, please, please let it be rotation. Just because. Like that meme, it's been 87 years. It's exactly what it feels like. Feels that way because of just how the game has progressed. So it just feels like it's taking forever for them to rotate. But that's okay. When they do, they do, and when they don't, they don't. And I'm hoping it's soon. Go with 3 coppers. That way I can maybe mine a little quicker. Do I even have food on me? Nope. Certainly don't. I have a potato. And I'm gonna plant that. I don't really have any food on me. Huh. Oh, time to make a farm. Don't know why I'm deciding to crouch, but whatever. I'll borrow this for a bit. All right. Perfect. Knew that was going to happen. Oh, okay. Stupid flower, get out of here. There. Gonna need to remove you, and you, and you, and plant them over here. Oops. I did it again. I was playing Terraria the other day. Can you tell? I'm hitting escape. Trying to bring up the inventory by hitting escape. Even though earlier I was hitting E and bringing it up. Yeah. I'm a genius, clearly. Oops, didn't want to go that far. Well, you know what? Sure, let's alter the deal. Pray that I don't alter it again. Alright. I just need to go get myself a hoe. Make one, if need be. Sure. Let's torch off the entire farm. Eventually all gonna be potatoes. I got to get back to my Irish roots. Which is actually true, oddly enough. I have Irish heritage. That's the word I was looking for. I could not think of it. I have Irish heritage in my lineage. Also have Scottish. Also have German, Dutch. Quite a few, actually. Whoop. Oh, no, not there. Nope, you go there. You go there, you go there, and I can pull from you, fill you in. Perfect. Yeah, it'll probably work too. Why not? I once made a joke, and shock, people were well, let's just say they were not very happy about my joke. Um, I made the joke about my Irish heritage and my British heritage, right? And I said that my British half had my Irish half over here growing, or not growing. My British half had my Irish half working on the railroads over here, effectively like slave labor, right? Which they didn't, but I'm saying this as a like a heritage joke. And I said, so my British half and my Irish half did this, and then uh, my British half enslaved my Irish half and made him work for the railroads here. And then I said, and then of course my Irish half demanded reparations to my British half, and my British half paid it in potatoes. So I'm very conflicted about this. No, I've got let's see, not just Irish. Let's see, Irish, British, Welsh. I heard that. Yep. How you doing, bud? Knew I heard it. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, buddy, but yeah, it's this is a mining zone, so tragic, really. There we go. Now that I've cleared that up. Yeah, it's... Went through and I had all that, I did a genetic test on Ancestry. Reason being is my mother kept making the boast, right? My mother's just like, your grandmother was 100% Dutch. And I'm like, yeah, press X to doubt, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, well, I'll take a DNA test. I'll send it in. That'll prove it. If she was 100% Dutch, then that means I would be at least 25% Dutch. Within within a margin of error of like a percent or two, right? Results came back, I'm not 25% Dutch. Not even if you add in the Germanic. You add in the Germanic area as well as the Netherlands, and I come up to being like 21%. That tells me family lineage might have had something wrong. Nevertheless, I have Norse, some Norse in there. There's British, Welsh, Irish, Scottish. No French. No Swedish that I'm aware of. I have some Scandinavian, but it's not Sweden. I think it was Norway. And then in the very minute traces, and the only reason I know this is because I've seen a lot of some of the stuff from my father's side of the lineage. My father looked like he walked off the Native American res. Like he literally looked like he walked off the Indian res. It was ridiculous. If he was out working in the sun in the spring and in the summer, he could have walked right on the reservation and they'd have been like, hey, it's one of our tribesmen. That's exactly what he looked like. So, there is some sort of Native American in there, but the exact tribe, there's not enough data on Ancestry to show the Native American tribe that it is and what percentage it is, or it's so infinitesimally small that it won't pop up. So there is some Native American in there, but it's very, very minute. And one of my relatives in one of my descendants, I should say. Not descendants, sorry. Ancestors. One of my ancestors in the photo book looks like she could have been native as well. Well, it's nighttime, so that's a hazard. So I just find it interesting. Like, I've done the genetic testing, and it was fun. Like, it was fun finding out what regions and where. And, I kind of joke around if it was like, 10 out of 10 would do it again. And I would, too. Maybe not with that specific. Maybe not with, like, say, Ancestry. Might do it with, like, a different one. potentially an option. But at the same time, you know, should have heard it. The conspiracy theorist in my mind was just like, you know what they're doing with that DNA sample you sent in, right? And it's like, well, I know what they could potentially do with it. Yes. There's a lot of things they could potentially do with it. But part of me sat there and said, well, why would they go to all that trouble? Right? Of course, you know, you have those other people out there that are like, yeah, but you're a conspiracy theorist, aren't you? Well, yeah, at times. I mean, I don't even consider myself a conspiracy theorist. I just ask the question, who stands to gain? And from that, I just make a few logic jumps and go, well, logically speaking, that seems like the most logical route. There you go. That's how it appears to me. All right. If I don't find lava in the next couple of bricks here, I'm just gonna call it on this here expedition down this vein. I'll try another one. Like, for example, one of the things I mentioned, this was a while ago, and I mentioned it, it was on Twitter, actually. I mentioned it on another video, too. I believe it was another Minecraft video. Another Woodless run. And that was, remember when they were bombing the boats, the drug boats in the Gulf of America? And people say, why are you calling it the Gulf of America? Well, let's put our thinking caps on, right? It's called North America and South America. Wouldn't it make sense to call it the Gulf of America, considering the two areas surrounding it are America and America? One north, one south. You know, to me, it makes sense to call it the Gulf of America. Just on that alone. Logically speaking, that makes sense. It's like the same reason why the ocean next to India is called the Indian Ocean. Or the canal right through Panama is the Panama Canal. Granted, they called it that because that was the project name, but and it's also in the country of Panama. The point I'm saying is you know, you wouldn't call like you wouldn't call the South China Sea the Western Hawaiian Sea, would you? Back when the South China Sea was first called the South China Sea, China kind of owned, well, all of it. Or next to all of it. So it makes sense. Anyway, when they were blowing up the drug boats down there in Gulf of America, I posed a question on Twitter and on here. I said, why are certain people, pardon me, spit started to go down the wrong tube and I had to stop it. Why are certain people up in arms about it happening? About people blowing up the drug boats. And I was met with criticism of, well, you know, they need due process, this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, why do they get due process? They're not citizens. Due process is not guaranteed to them, number one. Number two, why are they tying up our courts and our jail cells that comes out of our taxpayer dollars? when they're in international waters. Because that's where all this stuff happened, was in international waters. And furthermore, they were hauling drugs, which could be perceived as a chemical weapon, which falls under war crimes, according to pretty much every international treaty. It falls under a war crime. So, knowing this, I sat there and I said, why is Rand Paul so upset that we're blowing up drug boats? He claims it's about, the due process and the law, so to speak. It's like, okay, but if that was truly the case, wouldn't you be more outspoken about, well, the people that are getting harmed by said drugs? The only people in my mind that would be against these boats being destroyed are people making money off the boats. I mean, cartels running the boats. Cartels have got a lot of money. Seems like the only people that would be upset about it would be the people making money off the cartels. That's a bit weird there, Rand. It's a bit weird stance to take, isn't it? You're more upset about that than you are your own citizens and constituents getting harmed or potentially harmed by illegal drugs. Bit of an oddball take to have there, buddy. I posed that question. Not in that way. I posed it in a more thoughtful manner. I'm just kind of paraphrasing for the fun of it here. And I was met with rather immediate, I can't even say blowback, but it was rather immediate, disgruntled people. And quite disgruntled people, I should say. I was like, why are they upset? And it's because for some reason, in this country, and probably in many others, the people here have gotten into this idea that politicians are like superstars and that you can't criticize them. Oh, you can. You 100% can criticize politicians. And you should, because they're not working for you. They're working for their own pocketbooks. People say, well, you don't know that they're working for their own pocketbooks. Hold up, people. Let's use our brain. It's not a hard thing to do. It's actually quite simple. Let's say you're a insert politician here. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter what kind. Now, you're presented in front of you with a way to make a literal infinite money glitch by consistently saying that there's a problem with drugs or something entering the country illegally. Meanwhile, you're kind of funding it through back channels or allowing it to happen because you make $1 off of a nickel. Now, because you're making $1 off of a nickel, you turn a blind eye to the whole procedure going on. 10, 15 years down the road, you've made quite a few dollars off that nickel. And it still comes back around to, hey, you need to somehow convince people that you're still fighting the good fight, caring about them. So if that were the case, that you were fighting the good fight and caring about the constituents and the people, seems seems like it's a bit of a weird hill to die on, which is, of course, paraphrasing that. That's using a phrase that I'm very well aware of. It seems like a bit of a weird hill to die on by saying, well, I'm going to side with a criminal element bringing in illicit substances. And that's somehow going to make me the good guy. Now, they've done this type of gamesmanship for decades. I mean, and I quite literally mean decades. Because what they do is, like I said, they like to play. I almost want to say the victim, but they're not. But they like to act it, right? They like to sit there and say something along the lines of, there's a big boogeyman in the room, right? And that they've fallen prey to it too. Apparently, that was an achievement for cooking and eating a pork chop. Interesting. Anyway, they like to put this big boogeyman in the room and say, wow, I've fallen prey to it too. This is why you need to fund these research centers and this, that, and the other thing, and all these other pork politics. What happens? Money gets funneled into these pork projects. Pork projects end up going into NGOs, otherwise known as non-governmental organizations, which are named non-governmental organizations, but are governmental-run organizations. It's kind of weird. Then they funnel a portion of the funds they've just gotten from the pork politics in a bill over to something called political action conferences, PACs, PACs, super PACs, if you will. It's political action committees or political action conferences, both sides. Doesn't matter which side you pick, flip a coin. And then that money gets funneled back into the campaign coffers. So if you ever wondered why your politicians are kind of taking a dive, like, you could have a politician that you really like, and they're kind of taking a dive, and they go, we'll get him in the midterms. We'll get him in the next one. There's a reason they do it. Because running as an incumbent doesn't make you a lot of money through donations. But running is, I lost my seat, and I'm fighting to get it back. Now you've hit the big money. It's like pulling the lever and hitting a jackpot. These politicians get hundreds of millions of dollars into their campaign coffers for a couple of attack ads and a billboard that don't cost millions of dollars. So where's the rest of that money go? It's a good question. Where'd that money come from? It's a better question. How'd that money come from where it came from and get to where it's going? And for the best question of all, where's all the Social Security money gone? Social Security's been insolvent since its inception. It's a true story. But I'll leave it there. And it's all you have to do is just start asking questions about, where the money's going, where it's coming from, where it's headed. That's it. And you'll come to the right conclusion every single time. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Fastest distance between 2 points is a Bakistochrone. This ain't a fast thing. It's a straight line. It's this. It starts here. It ends here. Draw the line. Follow the money. But all you have to ask is who stands to gain. Who stands to gain by the drug boats not being blown up? People that make money off the drug boats not being blown up. Now you know why they complain about it. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a shame we haven't gotten to lava or the nether yet. Um, like I said, I might even take a horse, go out and find the lava in the next one. We'll see. I'm kind of dreading that, because if I go out there and I try to find the lava that way and I die, I have to get new buckets, a whole new series of problems. But we might run that option, because this is number 14 and I don't want to see this go to a 20 episode thing. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I did. I will be doing. I'll be looking something up, and then I'll be making a Rafam Warlock. I'll be doing a Rafam video, because it's. I think it'll be interesting. You'll have to check it out. But I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.